The music in the following podcast is used with permission under one license. License number M400404. Well, Maureen, you must admit that's some pretty spirited singing.
Oh, it was great. I am so excited about today's podcast, more so than ever.
That music is from the opening welcoming ceremony in the 2022 National Convocation of the American National Catholic Church. I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
And this is the Sonic Boomers Podcast, episode number 100. And we are just back from the Convocation down in Adamstown, Maryland. And boy, what a time we had.
It was phenomenal. And, you know, it made it more special this year because generally speaking, these convocations occur every 2 years, every other year. But because of COVID and various delays, it's been 4 years since we all got together.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, from the moment we walked into the place, everybody it was a real joy. People were so happy to see each other. And there's a lot of people we only see at these convocations because they're coming from all over the country.
Right.
And so, you know, you and I don't get out to North Dakota or out to California or down to Florida. So it was phenomenally wonderful to get to see them, people that have become our friends through this convocation and through this church.
Maureen and I are members, and we have been for, I guess, 7 or 8 years now. We're members of the American National Catholic Church. Now, why don't you explain, being that you're our expert in liturgy?
You always put me on the spot like that.
Fobbed that over to her.
Yeah. And so if I say something wrong, it's all on me, right?
Explain the ANCC.
Well, the ANCC is one of many independent Catholic jurisdictions throughout the world, actually. There are a lot of people who, for various reasons, want to remain Catholic, but have some other ideas about the way Catholicism should be played out in the world and in their worship experiences. The ANCC is a non-Vatican affiliated Catholic jurisdiction, and we basically have embraced the vision for the Catholic Church that was put forth by Pope John the 23rd when he convened Vatican II. He had certain ideas of reforms that needed to be made, and he wanted to see happen, and that's why he convened the council. And through the years, some of them happened, some of them didn't, and we feel like the American National Catholic Church has taken the ball and run with it and continued his vision.
Now, we have all of the 7 sacraments.
Absolutely, yes.
And
our liturgy is very similar, to a regular traditional Catholic Mass. In the ANCC, we're calling it ANCC just to make it short for American National Catholic Church. In the ANCC, we do what they call the Novus Ordo. Now, that sounds real fancy, but it basically is. It's the Mass that you all really liked before they changed all the words.
Before they started adding terms like consubstantial and...
Yeah. So, we use the older language. But outside of that, if you walked into an ANCC liturgy, you would feel right at home. It's just like a regular Mass.
Now, one of the big differences in the ANCC is the fact that our priests, number one, are allowed to marry. Mm-hmm. Our priests may be women. We ordain women.
Yes, we do.
And also we perform same-sex marriages in the ANCC. We also offer in, I think, just about all of our masses now, general absolution at the beginning of the Mass. So you don't, for all those of you who, like me, hate to go to confession, you don't have to, because you receive general absolution at the beginning of the Mass and your sins are forgiven. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way and go to confession, there is time before Mass where you can grab any of our priests and say, "Come hear my sins. I'll tell you all the crappy stuff that I've done," and they'll gladly do it for you, and proceed to tell the rest of us what you told.
No. Don't get people upset.
I'm just kidding. But they will gladly hear your confession, or you can just wait for Mass to start and get the general absolution. Mm-hmm. Also, our position on birth control and our position on abortion is basically this. In the American National Catholic Church, we support life from birth until natural death. We feel that what you do before that is your business. It's the business of the mother. It's not my business. It's not Maureen's business. It's not the church's business. It's not anybody's business. It's between the mother and God, and that's where we leave that. It is so good to be in a church where so many of these matters are settled.
Right. I mean, you go to some churches and they're still debating and they're making synods and they're calling together committees, and it's done. We figured it out. It's done.
If you're in the LGBTQ community, not a problem. Everybody comes to the table in the ANCC. Right. Everybody is welcome to come to Mass. Everybody is welcome to receive communion. And in the ANCC, we are not going to tell you that you're being in the LGBTQ community. And I don't know if they've added more letters on to that. I think they've done actually one or two more letters. But if you're in the community, it's not a sin. Yeah. We do not see it as a sin. We very strongly disagree with anybody that wants to tell us it is. We believe that we are all where God made us to be.
Right.
We are how he made us to be.
God doesn't make junk.
So come and join us at our priest. But one other thing that I want to point out, our priests in the ANCC have real jobs in the real world. They don't get paid. I think maybe they get a little stipend or something.
If the parish can afford it, yeah.
Parish can afford it. If not, they have jobs in the real world. The founder of the ANCC, Bishop George Lucy, is also Dr. George Lucy, and he is a clinical psychologist. We have his assistant, Father G.D. Reyes. G.D. is an IT guy. Mm-hmm. And so all of our clergy come from very broad backgrounds, and they have jobs in the real world. What's important about that is?
Well, then they can relate to you, and you can relate to them as to what it means to have a work-life balance and to figure out how to live a Christian life in a world full of complications.
Yeah, they're down here in the trenches trying to eke out a living with the rest of us.
Right. So they're not living in like some big polished rectory with a maid and a laundress and a cook telling you that you need to go to your pocket and give more money. It's like, no, they're doing just as much as you are.
Yeah.
And they know what it's like, and they some of them are married, some of them are single, some of them are married same sex, some of them are married man-woman marriages, and we have it all, and it's not a problem. And like you said, it's all been settled, which I think is one of the biggest burdens removed from all of our shoulders, is that we don't have to sit there and listen to it and anguish over it. It's done.
Bishop George,
move on.
Bishop George likes to say, we will let God do the judging. We'll do the loving. And we're not going to ask you to come to our church and say, oh, come on in, you're welcome, and now sit and watch us eat.
Yeah,
when we come up to communion. Everybody comes up. And we'll have more information about where you can learn more about the ANCC and look it up online at the end of the show.
That's right. So stay tuned to the very end.
Convocation, Every 2 years we get together, God willing. As Maureen said earlier, we got waylaid for a couple of years with the Karotska. And we are all happy to be together. So what happens at Convocation?
Well, basically, I mean, the main thing is that we are calling together the representatives from all of our parishes throughout the entire United States. And right now that's something like 13 or 14 parishes. The number keeps changing because we keep getting more people and more churches added to the fold.
We have excitement down in Philadelphia. We have ANCC Philly. It is so new that a lot of, in fact, all of the churches in the ANCC have names like our home parish, St. Francis of Assisi, and we have Holy Spirit, and we have
Sacred Heart, and St. Giles, all different ones.
But Philadelphia is so new that right now we're just calling it ANCC Philly.
Yeah.
Which I actually think is kind of cool.
It is kind of cool,
because I'd like to get the ANCC brand name out there more.
Yeah.
And doing that allows us to do it. So we could say, ANCC Philly, ANCC Glen Ridge, ANCC, California, ANC, wherever.
But people like to have a patron saint too.
Yeah.
So,
I get it.
It's fine. But yeah, so I mean, we welcomed some new priests to the fold at this convocation.
Yes.
We got some new parishes that have joined us. There's one down in Florida and one out in California.
And we had one priest who gave a homily, a newly minted ANCC priest, and that was
Mark DiStefano.
Wow. After that mass, I went up to him and I said, "Wow, that was some kind of a homily, bro. That was really some kind of a homily."
And I'll tell you later on when we give you all the information on the links, a lot of these masses and some of the workshops and things that were done at the convocation are available on the ANCC Facebook page, and we'll show you how to link to that later on, so you can see what we're talking about. A picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video is even better.
And we were so lucky to have as our keynote speaker.
Oh, this was amazing.
And musician, none other than the great Dan Schutte. And if you are into Catholic music and contemporary post-Vatican II Catholic music, Dan Schutte is a freaking rock star, right?
Absolutely.
He was one of the members of the St. Louis Jesuits.
Right.
And there are just volumes of music that we Catholics know that came from the St. Louis Jesuits.
And a lot of his music has also been embraced by other Christian denominations.
Yeah.
Especially Here I Am, Lord is one that if you a churchgoer at all, I'm sure you've heard. But he's got like, Here I Am, Lord, City of God, Only This I Want, Blessed Be the Lord. I mean, like, it just goes on and on.
It's an amazing body of work.
If you look through most of the Catholic hymnals, it's like, every 3 pages, it's a Dan Schutte song.
Schutte. And what I was so happy to be able to do is Dan did a song called Beyond the Moon and Stars. And it really, I don't know why I love it so much. I love the words. I love the music. And I had the opportunity. Dan was sitting with us at a table, and I actually, turned to him and said, "I want to thank you for writing Beyond the Moon and Stars. It just takes me to heaven every time I hear it." And you could see that he genuinely was grateful,
right?
That the song meant so much.
And sometimes there's a hesitancy when you have a keynote speaker or you have somebody that is, I hate to call him a celebrity, but it kind of is a celebrity. And you have them coming and, let's face it, there's one persona that they put for the public, and then when you meet them in person, they may or may not live up to that. And it's so disheartening when you find somebody that you've admired and loved and they turn out to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Dan is the real thing. He is humble, sweet, just unassuming, I can't say enough good things.
Yeah, so down to earth. Even our bishop was like, wow, he is such a lovely man.
Yeah.
There's no pretentiousness. There's just a lovely, lovely human being. And he came from a long way.
Yeah, he came all the way from San Francisco to be with us. And he had another engagement. Our convocation ran from Thursday, Friday, and a half day Saturday. And he did a concert on the Thursday night, and then he did his keynote speech on Friday morning. Friday afternoon, he was off again. He had to go all the way back to the West Coast for another engagement. And, he's not a young man. He's our age or a little bit older.
Yeah.
And he's flying all over the country and giving it his all. And he just is amazing.
Still sounds great.
He sounds great.
Still sounds great. In fact, when he got home, he even sent our bishop a note.
Yes.
And said, "Hey, I got home safe and sound," and he was like praising us instead of us just lauding praise on him for his
Right.
his great keynote presentation and the concert that he gave. It was like, boy, you guys really spoke to my heart, and it was just such a great experience.
It was. See, this is why we're so excited.
Yeah.
So many good things came out of this convocation. There were workshops and presentations and just, lots of good stuff.
Father Matt Bailey, and Matt is one of the co-founders, right, of the ANCC
I believe so.
with Bishop George Lucy, right?
I believe
think
so. At least if he's not a founder, he came on board right at the beginning.
Early.
Yeah.
He did a great presentation on the use of social media. Mm-hmm. And every church today is into social media of one kind or another. And a lot of our ANCC parishes are just getting on board with it now. Right. We have a really nice live broadcast that we do at our home parish, St. Francis of Assisi in Glen Ridge. And I think we use about 7 cameras now and 7 microphones, and it's really gotten to be quite a production. Thank you, Hap Boysha, for your gift and your talent. And the point to our other churches in the ANCC was start small.
Yeah, just do something.
You don't need 7 cameras. When Maureen and I first came to St. Francis, our telecast, we weren't even live. We would record it on a phone. And we had no microphones, just the microphone on the phone, and the phone was set up in the back of the church, and it was the same shot.
Right, still shot for the whole
Still shot for an hour. But you know what? It gets you into the game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And now, post-COVID, everybody needs to do this. It's no longer it's a nice option. You really need to have a social presence to be able to minister to your congregation, because let's face it, a lot of them cannot come to church for medical reasons or for physical reasons, and by doing an online presence, they are at least allowed to still feel a part of you and to participate with you, and it fulfills a very key ministry.
During the pandemic, it was the way that we kept our churches operating. Churches were closed. Remember, can you imagine that? Churches were closed because of a pandemic. Mm-hmm. We haven't
Never
seen
had that ever.
In our generation, no. No. And so we took to the, to the airwaves, no. We took to the internet. And churches started just pumping out product and pumping out masses on the internet. And all well and good. It kept our community together. But the thing that has crept up now, and I wrote an article for the ANCC magazine called "How You Going to Keep Them Down on the Farm?" Because the issue now is people have gotten used to going to Mass in their jammies on Sunday morning and being able to sit there and have a cup of coffee and munch on a bagel or something maybe while Mass is on.
Yeah.
And frankly, I don't see anything wrong with that. I really, I really don't. I may get some people to say, "Well, that's disrespectful, or you shouldn't be doing that." I don't have a problem with it. The fact is that you're there watching and hopefully participating.
Right.
But the thing is, I think that we're only going to get a certain percentage back in the pews.
Right. And that's a harsh reality. And it's sad, and it's it's a problem. But I think the churches that are going to succeed are the ones that can think in a new way about congregations and a new way about doing church and being church. And that, you may not always have a congregation that's in the pew. You may be able to cultivate another whole online community of people that are connected and who have a vested interest in your parish and in your church and want to be part of it and pray with you and contribute and, be a part of the community. And there could be people that were part of your parish that moved away, and yet they can still remain connected. And we have to learn to think about it in new ways. That's my opinion anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah. I think that that's the only way that the church is going to succeed going forward.
It is a new church. It's not just a church of people in the pews, but it's a church of people watching from maybe all over the world, mm-hmm. Watching from their homes. Maybe, telecast your Mass on I know we do it on Facebook Live every Sunday morning at 11. And then we also have a replay available anytime on Facebook and on YouTube.
Exactly.
So if you can't be there to make the 11 o'clock Mass live, catch it later on in the day, or
sure.
catch it the next day.
Mm-hmm. So it's really, I think that's a future goal of a church that's going to succeed. But what other workshops did you like? I liked the one they were able to put together a montage of photos and videos from parishes throughout the country. And it was like, the title of it was, "You Did What?" You did what? And it was great because it gave us a chance to see what kinds of activities and events these parishes are holding throughout the country. And you get some ideas of something maybe you'd like to try in your parish.
You get ideas, and it also lifted my spirits because I was like, where are we in mm-hmm. the ANCC? What are we doing? What is the direction? And then you saw the things that are going on in other parishes across the country that, of course, you don't know about.
Right. Not
being there. Like Father Carrie Walters' parish in Pennsylvania.
Right. Montendon. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. It's Montendon, Montendon, Pennsylvania, near Gettysburg area.
Yeah, we're changing it to Peatsville, Pennsylvania now, just to make it easy to remember.
But they actually got attention from a local TV station, and they did a piece on them. They're giving out gas cards to anybody that just comes up.
Yeah. And
you don't have to come with your laundry list of qualifications and stuff. If you come and you say, "Hey, I need some help. Can I have a gas card?" Here you go.
Yeah.
And they also are collecting diapers for, anybody who needs them, because they're very expensive, as any mother knows and father knows. If you're raising children, those diapers, and you go through a ton of them, and $20 or more a box, the money goes fast. So they're collecting both of those things, and they give them out while supplies last. And once a month they refill the coffers and make it available. And it's been a wonderful thing, and it's so such a good experience and a good vision of Christ. What Jesus do kind of thing.
Our parishes in ANCC are answering the call.
Yes.
They are answering the commission to take care of one another. Mm-hmm. And what was really good about this presentation, not only did it tell you what the different parishes were doing, but people from those parishes got up and were talking about one-on-one experiences mm-hmm. with the people that they were helping.
Some of those stories, brought tears to my eyes. They were so touching and so personal. There was one about the priest was in I'm not sure what, but it was some kind of it's like a rehab center or something, but it was like a hospital, medical kind of center, dealing with youth, and he would go there all the time, and they'd say mass and they'd have a Bible study and talks and stuff, and this one guy never said anything, and every time they would come, and this guy was very quiet, and they finally, I don't know, they had a mass or something, and he preached about acceptance of all people, especially the LGBTQ. And all of a sudden, this kid who has been silent for months and months on end jumped up and said, "It's not a sin." And it, like, everybody, all the other kids in the group were like, "It's not a sin, it's not a sin." And it just echoed through the group.
And saying it joyfully. After being told that you're defective.
And we'll pray for you. Yeah. And I'm just telling you about this. My eyes are welling up. It was such a powerful, powerful testimony.
To tell people that you are the way that God made you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Stop letting people beat up on you and tell you that you're, what is the term that they used in the Roman church?
Oh, gosh.
Not defective, but it's gone right to the back of my head. I know. But basically, we're saying in ANCC, there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's not a sin. You are the way that God wanted you to be.
Right.
And to hear these people saying with such joy that it's not a sin.
Yeah.
It's not a sin. It was just so wonderful. And then there's our ANCC church up in Kearney, which is headed by Father Paul Guglia, who, God bless you, Paul. This convocation, man, you knocked it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
It was just a home run. And when convocation was ending, I went up to Paul and I said, "You son of a gun, you knocked it out of the ballpark." It was so good. And Paul puts this together every 2 years with a committee. Right.
Well, it takes a village, and we have a village, but still it basically comes down on Paul's shoulders to make all the final
and the things
arrangements
that he's doing in his church out there in Kearney.
Yeah. They've done they've embraced a bilingual community. There's a lot of Spanish-speaking people in the Kearney area, so now their masses are all bilingual. They have an assistant priest, Father Bernardo, who he goes outside and he just starts talking to people out on the street and says, "Come on in,
come on in for mass, come on in." And Bernardo would be out there with a hook grabbing you if he could.
And they've increased their numbers through reaching out to the Hispanic community.
And also another great thing that they do. Remember the free hugs?
Yes, they participated in the Jersey City Pride Festival, and all they did was they set up a booth with, their logo and stuff. And
information to hand out about the ANCC.
About their church.
Their church,
and they had, members of the congregation there and the priests and stuff. And basically they just put up a sign, "Free blessings."
Yeah, free blessings, free hugs.
And people came up and they were like, "Yeah, I'll pray over me, give me a blessing," and some of the pictures that they had, you just saw the emotion in people's eyes and stuff as they're hugging and as they're being prayed over. And it's just, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
There are a lot of people out there. There's a lot of people out there in this world, especially the last couple of years, that really, they could just use a hug sometimes.
Yeah.
So, free hugs, free blessing. Just bless me. Give me a blessing. Maybe something to help me through. Something that says that God sees me and cares about me.
Yeah.
Free gas cards. The thing that Maureen and I are so proud of is that in this church, we see you. We hear you.
Yeah.
And we are trying to respond to help you and to buoy you up spiritually.
Absolutely.
If we can. And you know what? If we can give you a gas card for a little bit of gasoline that you don't have to take out of your wallet to put in your tank, maybe it's the difference between being able to drop your kids off at school or get to work or not.
Yeah.
You know, we're happy to be able to do it.
Yeah. And they even had said that there was one woman who drove like a distance to come, and because she saw the show, the piece on the TV about the gas cards, and she came and she needed the gas, but she also came because she said, "This is a community I want to be part of. Anybody that would do this and be this nice and this compassionate, this is something I want to be part of."
And we really hope that you will think about being a part of our community in the American National Catholic Church. And there are, unfortunately, not a lot of us right now. We're not clearly, we are not big as the Roman Church. We never will be. We're really not trying to be. We're just trying to help people in as many places as we can. And we do get areas of the country that petition us all the time and contact our bishop all the time and say, can we get an ANCC church in our community? Can you help us? Can we? And that's how a lot of our churches in the ANCC have started. They're kind of a grassroots effort.
It is. And, and if any of our people listening that are priests already, and you want to, you can incarnate into the ANCC. You don't have to go through the whole ordination process and seminary. You do have to go through a process. All our priests are vented, and they do a background check.
A lot of vetting in the ANCC.
They require a certain amount of time of discernment and everything. But the process is out there for anybody that wants to become a priest in the ANCC. That can happen. And if you feel called to priesthood or to deaconhood, or just want to learn more about your religion, we have a ANCTI, which is the American National Catholic Theological Institute, which offers courses and certifications online in various aspects of theology and in pastoral ministry. And some of that can go towards your seminary training.
Our friend Father Joe Harmon is the director of that, and you'll like him. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. So what we want to say is, look, if the American National Catholic Church, by and large, we are former Roman Catholics. Not all of us. Some of us have come from other religions. Some of us have come from having no faith at all. We're not here to raid churches. We're not here to raid the Roman Catholic Church. Maureen and I and many of our church members left the Roman Church because there were certain things that we could not tolerate anymore in the church. There were certain changes that we felt very strongly needed to be made, and we know that if we live to be 150, we're not going to see those changes. Those changes are probably not going to happen. I hope they do at some point, but I just don't see it happening. I don't see the ordination of women happening. I don't see allowing priests to marry happening. You're never going to see them perform same-sex marriages. And we do it all in the ANCC. If that appeals to you, if you are of like mind, we certainly encourage you to find an ANCC near you. If you are happy in Roman Catholicism, happy for you.
Yeah.
We're not here to raid churches. But we want you to know that there is an alternative out there.
We want you to know that you're not alone and there's something out there for you.
So you might be asking yourself right now, why doesn't this guy tell me how to do it? Well, we have a national website, which is called the ANCC.org. That is the national website. We have a national Facebook page. And if you just type in American National Catholic Church on Facebook, our Facebook page will come up. If you are looking for information about the church to which Maureen and I belong, it's what we call the Cathedral Parish. It's because it's where the bishop is seated in our parish in Glen Ridge. You can find us on Facebook at St. Francis of Assisi American National Catholic Church, or just type in stfrancisnj.org, and it will take you there. I keep telling Bishop Lucy, why did you come up with a name like the American National Cat? It's so long. He can't fit it on his business card. I think it's like American National Cat, and that's the end of his business card. It's like, remember the Little Rascals, the International Silver String Submarine Band, and Bishop George explained it to me, why he did it that way.
There are other independent Catholic jurisdictions, as I said in the beginning, and some of them have similar names, and so it becomes, you can't duplicate somebody else's name, and that's what it is, But and in the end, if you cannot find an American National Catholic Church near you, but you still want to find out about independent Catholicism, check out Extraordinary Catholics on Facebook. Or if you just type it in,
Father Jamie,
and if you just type it in, it comes up, and he maintains a Wikipedia list of all the different independent parishes throughout the country.
Not just American National Catholic Church, but a lot of non-Rome, non-Vatican Catholic churches in the United States. That's Father Jamie Matthias.
Absolutely.
Who's down in Texas.
Texas, yes. So, I refer you to that as well. If you cannot find an ANCC church, you may find something that's to your liking by examining his listings.
If you would like to watch one of our masses at St. Francis in Glen Ridge, we are on YouTube, and you just type in St. Francis Church, and there's a few different St. Francis's Church listed there, but ours is just called St. Francis Church in that case. And also, here's the phone number. Boy, you see how easy I'm making this for you to learn about us? The phone number, because I am the media liaison for St. Francis of Assisi in Glen Ridge, and I'll also represent the National Church if you have questions and you're not in our immediate area. But you can call the ANCC at 866-814-5456. That's 866-814-5456. So get in touch and give some serious thought to joining us. Well, can you believe we went through 40 minutes on this show today?
Oh, but we were excited.
Normally we go 30, but boy, we are so excited, and we had a lot to talk about, and we hope that you enjoyed this edition, show number 100 on the Sonic Boomers, and what better way to celebrate it. Until next time, I'm Pete Torriello.
And I'm Maureen Torriello.
Now go out and make some
noise.